guys, let's get started. I'm super excited about today. We're going to be talking about something that is super important to me, and that is going deeper into questions. And I think the name of the game is being curious. If you were to ask yourself, if you are a curious individual, would you raise your hand and say, yes, you are? Or do you find yourself not super curious about things? What do you guys think? You guys are? Okay, so most people feel that way. Some people don't. If I were to ask you guys, if you were open-minded, if you felt like you were an open-minded individual, who would agree with me? You guys feel like you're open-minded? Raise your hand. Okay, most of you guys feel like you're open-minded. Okay, that's good. All right, so today we're going to talk about curiosity, or more specifically, how to go deeper into a conversation with our clients, but it stems from curiosity. When I was a kid, I used to freaking love asking questions. I wanted to know everything, like literally everything. My parents could not get me to shut up. Me asking questions like, how, why, tell me more about this. Well, how does this work? How does this work? Why is that? Why is this? And just like, it was just nonstop. I can only imagine how obnoxious I was as a kid asking those questions. And I would ask them to anyone that would listen to me. And so it's interesting how that's kind of unfortunately carried me through my life. I still ask lots of questions because I'm genuinely curious about how things work, about people, about their lives. And so it's just kind of how it works. And I think it really makes for a really good salesperson when you can develop that skill to really be curious and ask questions. What ends up happening is, as salespeople, what we do is we ask questions because we feel like we need to, right? There's some form of data that we need to collect to be able to help them either buy or sell real estate, which is fine. But what stops some agents from really achieving success compared to others is the ones that are able to ask further questions, are able to get a little bit deeper, and then are then able to connect those dots together. I see that's kind of as the big drawback. And we're going to get into a little bit of how we do that, okay? So think about an example in which you are meeting with a client for the very first time. Let's say you met them at a house that you were going to show them, and you showed them the home. And then asking them basic questions, right? So if you guys can either put it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask, what is a reasonable question to ask when you meet someone for the very first time and you show them a property? What are some questions that you think would naturally be asked in that environment? What do you guys think? What are some questions us as agents ask a prospective or a buyer when we meet them at a house and we show them the house? Okay, very good. So Tessa says, how long have you been looking for a home? So it's a reasonable question. And when are they looking to move by? Janelle asks, what are the must-haves, right, of buying a home? So what is about the area that you like or lie, depending on how you ask? What is your time frame? All great questions. Any more? What other questions would you ask? Met with the person, and assuming that you don't have like a massive, long, relationship with this individual. Let's say that you don't know anything about them. What other questions would we ask? And feel free to also just unmute yourself and say it. Have you talked with a lender? Okay.
Where do you currently live?
Where do you live currently? Okay. Good question. Any other questions? What else can we ask them? What's the reason for the move? Okay, great question, Janelle. What does Team Farnham have? What questions do you guys have? What would you ask a prospective buyer? Lucy says, what drives you to this area? It's a good one too. They're fiercely typing away, so we'll see what their response is. Okay, let's see. Why are you thinking of moving here? Okay, that's great. And I'm sure like people that are moving, from wherever they're at to Vegas, that's a great question to ask, like why, right? Here's where the problem or the disconnect happens. Let's say you ask me, hey, why are you moving to Vegas from California? And my answer could be, I'm moving there because I'm downsizing and I'm retiring. Okay. And then a lot of agents, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, cool. And then get into showing them a house, right? Get into showing them another home. But how is that missing the mark? Right? Because if all you ask me is why I'm moving there, and I say it's because I'm retiring and downsizing, and that's all you stop right there. how does that put you in a disadvantage in really knowing my motivation? What do you guys think? I don't think we've met the guy that typed in with Team Farm. Can you unmute yourself? Are you in a ability to be able to like talk?
Yeah. How's it going?
Okay, cool. All right, so if you can get closer to wherever the mic is, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Go for it.
Okay, so let's role play that real quick. So you asked me why I'm moving to Vegas, and I told you I'm just retiring. What else could you ask me?
I guess a statement, not really a question, but I think a lot of people are moving here because of no state income taxes. Property taxes are much higher in California.
They are.
Yeah, what are you looking to do in retirement? I think Las Vegas and Phoenix have these sun cities, which are really big for retirement communities. So it maybe gives you a lifestyle you're looking for.
Yeah, I want to be able to, have nice amenities. I know that things are less expensive here, so just, I can get more bang for my buck.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say that, if you have been here before, access to the airport, if you want to go see family somewhere else, I mean, it's a growing city, 2.5 million people, but I think it's still very convenient to get to the airport.
Yeah, it's true. So what was your name again?
Tim.
Tim. So Tim, let's role play, or let's continue this role play and talk to me as if you're actually talking to me as a client. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to have an airport super close.
So tell me a little bit more about your current lifestyle. Are you moving by yourself? What's your current lifestyle like?
It's just my wife and I. Our kids are grown out of the house, and it's just empty nesters.
Well, congratulations on that there. Where does the rest of your family live? Do you want to be convenient to them, or what does that look like?
Yeah, they're just kind of all scattered throughout the US. Some are going to school, some are, already married and living, California and other parts of the world.
What do you plan to do in retirement? Are you more of an outdoors person? Are you looking to get into another business?
Yeah, my wife likes to run, and so she's done the Revel race there, Mount Charleston a lot. And I like to play a lot of pickleball, so I'm sure I'll be playing pickleball there.
Awesome. Yeah, Sunset Park just added about 80 new spots for pickleball, so I'll see you out there sometime. But that's great. I mean, I think there's a lot of outdoor places to go. In terms of the home, if you want to go down that path, are you looking for single story? What do you currently live in? What is your, how big is your home currently? 2-story versus 1-story?
Yeah, that's good. And obviously we can continue this conversation. What I want to talk about, if we can break for a second, is going back to motivation, right? Because when you start getting into the, what type of house do you live in, and to like kind of go down the road of like now finding out what type of home to get, that's good. And we all do that. I want to go back to why I'm choosing there. Am I looking at any other spots, right? Vegas might be one of an option for me, right? So like what really draws me to Vegas, I think is an important question to ask. Are there any other spots I'm looking for, right? Are there any other cities or states I'm considering in my retirement, right? How soon have I retired yet, right? Like getting a little bit deeper in truly the motivation of the move is going to allow us to set us apart from those people that just say, okay, cool. Because here's the thing, you guys, most people out there, when they see us as real estate agents, guess what they see? They see door openers. That's all they see. They see someone that is the gatekeeper that's stopping us from seeing inside of a house. And if we can't articulate our value to them, if we can't deliver massive value to them, then what happens? They just see us as a door opener, and therefore, if we're not available, guess what happens? They'll go to somebody else, right? They'll quickly, like they have no loyalty to us because we're just a tool for them to get to where they want to get to. But if we can be that person that really understands them at a super deep level, really gets into the motivation behind where they're at, then it allows us to really make that connection with them, and then be able to know exactly how to lead them to where they want to go. Right? Imagine going to a doctor, and let's say you have a concern. Let's say you have like, I don't know what, something's wrong with you, and you go to the doctor, And the doctor says, oh, hey, thanks for coming. Like they get the little clipboard. You've been waiting forever, just super annoying process, right? The doctor finally comes into that small little box that they put you in forever. And imagine if they're like, okay, cool. So we're going to schedule surgery tomorrow at 3:00, and starts walking you the process of like what the surgery is going to be like. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you talking about? What surgery? Like, I don't even know what really is wrong with me yet. Right? Doctors don't do that, do they? Even before the doctor meets with you, you're asked a million questions. And when the doctor gets there, he reviews those questions and then asks additional questions to really find out what is wrong with you. And then if he still is unclear, he then requests, or she requests, multiple tests to be taken or to be administered, right? Your blood, urine, whatever type of testing they need to do, MRIs, to really find out the root cause of what the pain or the problem is. And then the final result, if needed, is surgery, right? Or medication. We as agents, we seem to like go quickly, like, hey, I've got this magic pad here that I can put any, I can write you any medication that you want, prescription that you want. And like, that's not okay, right? Because yeah, you could do that, but if you really don't know what their problem is, then the solution that you have may not be the right solution for them. And so going back to really diving deep into questions, like I want you guys to practice that. And it doesn't even have to be with real estate in general. You can ask or practice that with your spouse. You can practice that with your children or just friends that you have. Like getting good at going deeper and being more curious about the individual. So it was Tim, right? So Tim, if you were to say, hey, Nazar, like, tell me a little bit more about that. That's one of my favorite phrases. Tell me a little bit more about that. Let's go a little bit deeper into why Vegas. Like, what drew you here? How many times have you been here? Right? Do you like, when you have come in the past, what do you enjoy doing? You're asking some of those questions. And I'm not discounting the questions you asked me, but I want you to go deeper in the questions you ask. And sometimes what ends up happening is we'll ask a question about a certain topic and they'll give us the answer, and we think that's enough. But if we go a little bit deeper in that same topic, we sometimes discover or uncover a problem that they have, they would have naturally not disclosed to us. Mm-hmm. Who's ever been to a grocery store? And I give the same example because it happens all the time. You go to a grocery store, you may not have a list that your spouse has given you of things that you need, or you just go in by yourself because you need to buy certain things. And then you'll have some nice little greeter there, right? And they say, oh, can I help you with anything? And what's our knee-jerk reaction to tell them? I'm good, no thanks, right? And so you go in there and then you get frustrated because you're walking down the halls trying to figure out where the product is or that you're looking for. And imagine if that first person were to ask you a certain or different way to be able to help you, right? Imagine if they said, hey, is there a certain item that you've come here to get? And imagine if then they said, yeah, like I'm looking for this, whatever that is, like some shaving cream. Like, cool. And then they could do one or two things. They can say, hey, it's on aisle 7. Right? And like, hey, cool, that's super helpful, which it would be. And then you go to aisle 7. Or imagine if they took it further and said, cool, you're looking for shaving cream? Follow me. And then they took you to aisle 7 and said, hey, what type of shaving cream do you normally get? And then you said, oh, I usually get whatever shaving cream. Like, cool. Here's the shaving cream that you wanted. And I want to also tell you about this other shaving cream that people have actually said that they've liked better, and here are the reasons why. And then giving them the option of which shaving cream that they want. Imagine how different that would be and you had that experience at a grocery store or any other environment like that, right? Like I just recently bought my son a car, same thing. Like there's such a big difference between one salesperson than another. Don't you guys agree? Don't you guys feel that way with anything? And in sales, we look at that and all of the prospective buyers and sellers look at us agents that we're all the same, but we're not all the same. Right? Would you guys agree? No salespeople are the same. Either they are knowledgeable about the product or service that they sell, or they're not. Either they're charismatic or they can give a rat's butt about what, like they're just there to do a job. Right? Have you guys in the past in your life, either as an agent or not an agent, gone to an open house? Who's ever gone to an open house before that wasn't an open house that you were hosting? Does anyone have that experience before? I'm sure most of you guys have. And how was that experience when you went to an open house? Let's say you went to an open house in a state or city that you were visiting, and you went to an open house just kind of because you're curious and wanted to see what that house looked like. If you've ever done that before, I have. How was that experience with that agent walking through? Did you judge them and how they treated you and how they acted and how they not only treated you, but how they treated other people that were there? Have you guys noticed that? Well, guess what happens when you're that person, when you're the agent that's there, how you treat the client that's right in front of you, and also all the other subsequent people that are there, you're always being watched. And so as an agent, you got to decide how you're going to show up. And unfortunately, a lot of us as agents, when we do anything, any activity, we do it just for the sake of doing it without being intentional about it. And so when you're doing said activity, specifically when you're talking to customers, either for the very first time, or sometimes you may feel like you know them, and so therefore you don't need to ask additional questions, but really intentionally asking questions is going to allow you to go deeper into finding out what their true motivation is. So I want another person. Who can I pick on? I only see like 5 or 6 of you, even though there's like 25 people that are participating. Can you guys please turn your cameras on so I can see your faces? And maybe since Rochelle, if you're here and you're flashing your little paper there, you're distracted. Oh, look at that. Look at Brandy's whole team's there. Awesome. All right, Rochelle. If we're going to role play real quick, we're going to role play. I've got here a completely different example from the one that we had about Vegas. I have some like objections or concerns. I'm a buyer, and I wanted to see how many of these things I've written down here. I've written down 6 or 7 things. I'm going to see how many of those you can discover by questions you ask. Okay. Let's again, same thing, but let's assume that you've met me at like, let's say on Zillow, inquired about a property, and you decided to, or you've made an appointment to show me this home, and I've seen this house. So let's go from there. Let's see how deep you can get to discover all these things here that I have on my list.
Okay. All right. Hi, Nazar. So, hey, we've seen this house. Tell me what you think about it.
I like it. It's great.
Okay. What exactly do you like about it?
Again, so Rochelle, I want you to focus less on right now the house and more so on me, because you don't know me from Adam.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So like get to find out motivation that I have here, because you've never met me before.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Hey, Nazar. So how long did it take you to get here?
That's a great question. I actually live in town here, so not too far, about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Okay. And so you're about 10 minutes away. And what's bringing you to take a look at this home now? I mean, if you're 10 minutes away, what's the motivation?
I'm just thinking of buying another house, and this one caught my eye. So
Okay. And are you buying for yourself or for
yeah, it's for myself.
buying for yourself? Okay. And so what's different about this home and the home that you currently live in? And what's making you want to change and buy another one?
I just need to buy this house, or I want to buy a home. And I like this particular one. It's got 4 bedrooms, and so it kind of, meets the needs that I have.
Okay. And then is it pretty much, are you trying to get closer to a certain, situation, or like is trying to lower a commute? What do you do for living?
I sell software. I work from home, so I can work from anywhere. I like this home because it's close to the places that I want to be at. So
Okay. So so you're like a software engineer?
Mhm.
Awesome.
More of a salesperson. Yeah.
A salesperson. Okay. So what do you like to do in your downtime?
I actually enjoy riding my bike. So
Okay. And okay, so I'm trying to figure out what other questions to ask you. So yeah, I'm kind of stumped because I'm not you're not giving me a lot of information. Um, let's see. And okay, so the house that you're going to buy, are you looking to are you going did I ask you that? Are you planning to live in it, or is it like a investment property?
Yeah, I'll be living in it.
Okay, you're living in it. Okay. And so is that are you living in it with your family or just by yourself?
Yeah, I've got my family with me.
Got your family with you. Okay. And so yeah, I'm not sure how much further to go. Like what I don't know.
Yeah. So someone asked, how many are in my family? Pets, great questions. Yeah, I've got 3 kids, and I've got 2 dogs. Brandy, why don't you unmute yourself and help out a little bit?
What do you want me to help out with? Well, I would ask you what you were going to do with your other home.
My wife's gonna be living there.
Now you stop, Nazar.
Now what?
But I would go into depth, but there's too many people on here because that would be a great marriage. So congratulations that your wife is going to be living over there. And so you don't have a home to sell to purchase this one, I see.
Correct.
Awesome. So have you been pre-approved or will this be a cash purchase?
No, I'll be getting a loan.
Okay, wonderful. Have you started that process?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, great. I'm trying to think.
Of course, that's what I hear.
What's that?
So by that question you asked, he said his wife is going to stay at the other house. So I'm assuming they're separating or getting a divorce. That's what I get from it. Is that correct?
I find that a healthy marriage.
A healthy marriage. That's
Is that how you stay married for 15 years?
23 years. So here's the thing, and I'm glad that this kind of came up, is that you guys are just making assumptions, right? Rochelle, you're making an assumption that I'm getting a divorce. Brandon's making an assumption I'm a very smart man and living in 2 different houses to like save my marriage.
Well,
and
if I was to start from the beginning, it would be a lot better, but I kind of jumped in on the end of it. So I didn't know what questions were asked.
Oh, okay. So, but like, here's the thing though, like I wrote down 6 things. I wrote down, I'm looking to buy a house, recently divorced, need good schools for my kids, I need a large enough backyard for my dogs that I have. I like to ride bikes, and so I want to be close to trails. These are the things that are important to me. And you guys discovered some of those things, but digging deeper, right? Like again, you guys finding the color of a home, the style of the house, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, like that's just the easy part. Anyone could do that. But getting to know me as a human, like that's what separates the person that is just a schmuck doing the job and a person that's going to build a relationship with somebody that hopefully lasts for a very long time. Right? Like finding out like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you buying this house? And then sometimes like the answer is going to be very vague because I'm not ready to discuss and tell you why. Right? Because I don't know who you are yet. And so breaking those walls down is a part of the sales process, right? Truly discovering and diving in deeper allows you, because sometimes the very first answer you're going to get, just like the knee-jerk reaction of, no, I'm good, is what you're going to get. And if you take that for face value, then that's all you get. You don't know, right? I don't know if you've ever like started a relationship or been in a situation where you're like trying to learn, and you're just beginning to know someone for the very first time. Like there's a lot of questions you ask, right? Like, I don't know if you guys, even when you're meeting someone just as a friend, you just ask them a million questions because you're like, I don't know anything about you at all. Or if you're like dating somebody, right? Like you like ask a million questions because you want to get to know them. And in real estate, it works that same way. We are truly, in an essence, getting to know somebody for the very first time. So instead of like going, I don't mean to sound crass, but like, like if you're on a date, let's say for the very first time, instead of saying, hey, do you want to have sex? right? Why don't you find out about them a little bit more? And maybe if you find out about them and ask right questions, you find out if they're like have STDs or something, and maybe you don't want to touch them or never be anywhere near them. Or you find out that, yeah, this is actually a decent match, right? So asking questions to get to know somebody, diving deeper, asking a little bit more. Hey, tell me more about that. And if someone says, yeah, I've got 3 kids and 2 dogs, right? And I'm assuming that you would have asked them like, oh, that's great. Tell me their ages. What are their names? And if you have a freaking pad, like write their freaking names down, right? I don't know if you guys do that or not. Write their kids' names down. Write their ages down. Write what schools they would go to. Are they in elementary school, middle school, high school, right? Like dogs, cool. How many dogs do you have? How old are they? Do you have any other animals? Are there any other reasons why you would want? Like if I say I want a single story home, tell me more about that. Right? You can say, oh, cool, you want a single story home? Awesome. Brain acknowledges Nazar only wants single story homes. So if you don't know the hell reason why I want a single story home, then you don't know if that's just a really cool thing that would be fun to have, but then I'm totally open to a 2-story house. Or if I'm in a wheelchair, or if my spouse is in a wheelchair, or I don't like climbing stairs because one time I fell down the stairs because I had a bad dream, right? Like you don't know the reasons why. So ask those freaking questions. Don't be afraid of asking additional questions. I had an agent call me and ask me if I wanted to buy or sell real estate. They had no idea who they were talking to. And so they said, hey, do you want to buy or sell real estate? And I said, no, I'm good. I'm not interested. And I said, okay, cool. Thank you so much. Is it okay if I follow up with you later? I'm like, sure. I'm like, okay, talk to you later. And that was literally the end of the conversation. It was like 30 seconds. And I thought, what a missed opportunity. And how often do we do that, right? If our manager or even just ourselves, we're like, okay, I'm going to make 10 new contacts today. How deep are we getting into those conversations with those 10 contacts? How much time are we really getting to know individuals? And if you don't care about people, like if that's just not your thing, then maybe sales is not your thing. Because to truly be like a really good salesperson, you have to be okay with getting to know people. And I know that some of you guys are introverts, and that's fine. Even introverts can put on the hat of an extrovert, right? You might drain yourself by doing so, but you can still do it if you really want to, right? It's not a crutch. It's just another hurdle that you have to overcome. Okay, so here's the homework that I want to leave with you guys today. The homework is practice being curious. Be willing to, when you are meeting with clients, I don't care if it's the very first time you met with them or you've met with them for the 30th time, decide to get to know them a little bit deeper. And hell, like my wife and I went on just a one-night little shindig, and I asked ChatGPT on the app. I said, hey, ChatGPT, what questions should I ask my spouse to get to know her better and take into consideration that we've been married for 23 years? And it came with like super cool questions that were very deep, that weren't shallow. And we had some pretty decent discussions regarding revolving those questions that was asked. And so maybe if you need to do that, maybe that's a way that you can use ChatGPT. Yes, I know Nazar loves ChatGPT. Like ask it to like come up with questions, formulate questions to ask your client, right? Or your spouse, whatever it is, it's just training your brain to be in a position where you can go deeper into conversations and not take the first answer as the end all be all, but just like learn how to break the ice so they can get comfortable with you, so they can truly divulge what their true issues are, right? Because the first person that's getting it, or the person that's getting a divorce, might not tell you off the bat that they're getting a divorce, because they might be ashamed of that, or they might have a lot of issues with that still. So getting past that point and saying, okay, like I'm gonna get to know you a little bit better so you can feel comfortable with me. I'm gonna share some things with you so you know that we're on the same page, but go dive deeper into them, right? A lot of people make the mistake is where if someone says, or if I'm gonna ask you, hey, like, do you have any animals? And you're like, yeah, I've got a cat. And if I was Tess, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love fur babies. And like go into like your fur babies. They can give a rat's ass about your pets. The client doesn't care about your life. I know it's one-sided, but that's just how it works, right? You can like be like, oh yeah, I totally have a cat too. Tell me more about your cat. That's cool. But don't make it ever about you. Unless they ask you questions, right? Like some people have the fallacy that that's how you build relationships by connection by saying, oh yeah, I have that too. And then they start vomiting about their life or their circumstances or their issues or their experiences. Don't do that. Focus on them. Make it be all about them. I don't know if I've shared this with you guys in the past, but those that ask the questions controls the conversation, right? So be the person that asks questions and be relentless about asking questions, not interrogating them, but asking questions and going deeper and deeper and deeper until you finally feel like you have really an understanding of who they are and what their true motivation is. And I promise you guys, if you do that, you'll be a higher profitable real estate agent that'll be more successful and more sought out than you could ever have time to be able to truly dedicate to them. One last thought I'll leave with you guys today. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. All of us have the same 24 hours in the day. If it's important enough to you, you will make time. If it's not important enough for you, you'll make excuses. So choose wisely of how you spend those 24 hours. Make it a priority to learn, to educate yourself, to arm yourself with all kinds of knowledge about your marketplace, about everything that you need to know to be a good salesperson, and then be curious enough and be willing enough to dive in deeper and to learn your customer, to make them truly a friend. And I promise if you do that, you'll sell more real estate. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited that we are in, today is the 17th of August, 2023. My son turns 20 years old today. So I'm super excited to be that old, to have a 20-year-old son. And I think what is interesting about life, as you continue to get older, you realize how fleeting time is. So please make time to enjoy life, but also work hard so you can enjoy the time that you have with it, that you can spend it with your family and friends. Okay, you guys have an awesome week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks.